Hey guys, what's up? Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it.
Please like, subscribe, share with your mates, and enjoy the episode.
And yeah, that's it. Another episode of The Flip Side. So today is a Sunday. Usually I don't work on a Sunday, but I've been sort of crushing out the last few Sundays. And today, Krishn, major breakthrough. And I'm just thinking like, what if I just chose to take today off? Like I remember I woke up and I didn't feel like getting out of bed, but I forced myself out. And like if I didn't work today, the breakthrough I had today, there might be a chance that this breakthrough would not come for another 6 months. And it's crazy how life works like that. Today I was talking to my sales manager and we're just like, how do we make this work for our sales team? Right now, we're working on this phone call funnel and it's getting better and better. We got it break even, but then we brought on 4 new high ticket closers, 4 new salespeople from all over the world. And the numbers aren't sort of too profitable. And it's like this weird catch-22. It's like, we can't give them more commission because the company's not profitable. But if we don't give them more commission, it's not worth their time because they're not going to make enough money to be a full-time salary. So like, how the hell do other companies do it? Like, how does a company pay an employee 80 grand a year where that employee just like doesn't bring in 80 grand a year? The average commission rate is 10%. So let's say an employee costs 80 grand. That employee needs to somehow bring in $800,000 worth of revenue. But that's like near impossible. So I was like, how the hell do these big companies do it? And I was just thinking about it. I put together this whole like company calculator where I try to figure out all my expenses, daily expenses, and try to move numbers, move percentages, and figure out what was happening. And I cracked it. But before I go into the solution, how's everything been, Krishn?
It's good. It's good. Look, I'm very interested and keen to hear as well, but I'm also happy for you. Welcome back, guys. Today is, it's so bad. I'm like completely out with dates. I don't know what date it is. I just know what day it is. Today's a Sunday. Although every day feels like a Sunday, right? But today's Sunday, the 8th of August. We're filming at 4 p.m. Episode 47. Edging closer and closer to a year. Yeah, man, I've actually been good. It's been a good week. I did a few things. I bought a skin ages ago. That came. I put a skin on my phone. That's about as interesting. And I did I'm into a new hobby now. So I've entered a new hobby, but we can go to that later. But yeah, like episode 47. Thanks, guys, as always. But yeah, let's hear it. So because when you said 10%, did you mean 10% on 80,000 being surplus of what they earn in terms of like 1.1%? So if an employee makes 80,000, they need to bring in essentially 1.1% of what they earn, being 800, or did you mean $8,000 as a commission revenue? I'm sorry, I just got a little bit lost in that detail.
Yeah, that's totally fine. The 80,000 would be their 10% commission. So if they're commission only, yeah.
Wow.
Oh wait, there's no base rate.
Yeah, that's why now that you mentioned that, I'm like, damn, yeah, how do they do it? How do you say 80,000 is a commission salary and no base rate? Jesus, that's tough.
Before we can dig into it, is 80,000 a lot, too little? Like, well, what's the shocking reaction towards?
It's more so that like no base rate and then 80,000. Like for me, I can understand it if it's like a huge company. Obviously, you're still growing, etc. Right? So for me, when I hear 80,000 as just commission alone, it's a lot of money, regardless of how you want to spin it. It's a lot of money, right? So it's like, damn, like how do you get creative and like getting the 80,000 salary? So yeah, I'm keen to hear. It's not that I don't think you can. Obviously, it's more so that it's a large number. You know what I mean?
Yes. Because like, comparing 80 grand to like all our peers and stuff who are working full-time jobs, like you guys are all close to 80 grand. So I was surprised. I couldn't tell if it was like, wow, that's actually a shitty number for commission only, or if that was a really good number.
No, that's a good number for commission only, especially like, you know what I mean? Because that's 100% right. I was like basing it off what my salary, and some like 80 grand in commission only is better than what some graduates are getting straight out of university. You know what I mean? So it's a big number.
Okay,
so
cool.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
So I was just crunching the numbers and I was like, at like at 8%, like it just they wouldn't make one unless they bring in $800,000. Then they'll give themselves 80K. But like that's like nearly impossible, because then I would crunch the numbers. Okay, if they have to bring in $800,000 every year, divide that by 365 days, then that means they have to bring in, what's that? What's 800,000?
Around 2.1.
2.1 thousand. Oh yeah. Oh, that is achievable, I guess. But for some reason, in reality, it seems achievable, but it's not really, just because they have 8 hours, and in that 8 hours, they have to say close 2 people. If they close 2 people, 1,000 each, I guess that means that's 2,000 in revenue. That's 200 commission for that day. But then this also takes into account they're working every single day. So when you do the 5 days a week times 45 weeks, then the numbers drastically drop. Drop a lot more, because I think that's a 20% decrease on the weekly, and then another 10% drop on the 52 weeks. So all of a sudden the numbers just dip a lot. So in conclusion, the numbers it wasn't working. And then I was like, what happens if I just like have 100 salespeople? Because I am a fixed cost business. And then I sort of remember economy of scales, and sort of that kicked in. And I was like, well, let's try this out. I put together this formula. At 4 salespeople, let's say we had a net profit margin of like 30%, but the high ticket closers weren't getting paid that much. They were getting paid like 20 grand each. I was like, all right, let's bump up their commission to like, I don't know, like 50% just to try it out. Okay, now at 50%, they're making like 65 grand USD per year. But now the company is negative 20% loss because we're paying them too much commission. Let's go from 4 high ticket closers to 20. And all of a sudden my profit margin went from negative 20 to like 50% in profit margin. The salespeople still made the same amount, because even though the company made more, it'll be split against the 20 high ticket closers. And I was like, holy shit, the secret is hiring more people. The secret is economy of scale. Since I have fixed costs, if I just hire more salespeople, it just somehow works out.
And you're retaining that commission rate of 50%, or you want to retain it at what rate with like more people in?
So with more people, technically, I can actually do either. Like I could decrease the commission rate, but I would have to keep the commission rate the same for them to be earning 65K. So I need to figure out a sweet spot where they're able to earn like a decent amount of salary. If they're working hard, it's lucrative. And the only way I can have that leeway is with scale. So it's weird how like I was reading Richard Branson's book, and how he just throws $50 million every time he starts a new company. And in my mind, it's like, how the hell does that work? Or why do people need to borrow money? And why the hell is, like, I know a friend, he's quite wealthy, but is going around looking for funding to build out his sort of weed brand. I was like, but you have a lot of money. Can't you just fund it, start small, and just slowly grow it over time? But sometimes they're just things that just don't work on a small scale. And I'm starting to understand why people borrow money. And we were talking about borrowing money last week, and everything's starting to click. All the dots are connecting. This whole time, I've been a huge believer of just starting small, using your own money, slowly growing, never borrowing, never being in debt, slowly growing. But sometimes it's impossible to make something profitable on a smaller scale, and it just made sense today.
That's insane how we talked about it last week or the week before, right? And venture capitalists. So yeah, you're 100% right, because you get to a point where, I don't know, this is just from like watching Silicon Valley. Like the group of people, you know, they had a great product in terms of decentralized internet or whatever, and they literally hit a stone, like a brick wall. They hit a brick wall because they were growing faster than what they could essentially afford, in the sense that they had all these big aspirations and everything, but they couldn't, you know, take the next leap. So they went to the venture capitalists and, you know, they pitched and everything. So like, yeah, like it's one of those things where like, if you had an injection of funds into your business right now, you'd spread it all on human capital, pump it all out, get all these high ticket, but like, would you, obviously you'd allocate it and, you know, you put your resources accordingly into the business depending on different needs, but like, yeah, just send it straight through. So like, is this something that you might be considering going down avenue, or is it like, how do you see yourself navigating through this in the next couple of months, given that obviously, you know, you figured it out. Now it's like, okay, but even if you do get these people, the risk is that they possibly don't pull through, like maybe just on the off chance that they might not, you know, like might not exceed your expectations, or like just be under the expectations that you expect, you know what I mean? So it's like, how would you manage those expectations?
Yeah, I think right now there are different numbers we have to tweak. Like we need to improve the shop rate, the closing rate, the AOV, the average order value. Now if we just kept the numbers the same to like be able to feed the high ticket closers with like a high commission rate, but at the same time have the company be profitable. Like if we wanted to just keep the current shitty numbers, we would need like 50 high ticket closers to like break even or something. But like it was so unintuitive to me that when you're making a loss, the solution is to hire more people. And then when it clicked, when I'm doing the Excel and I'm like playing with the numbers, it's like, wow, this is something I just never thought of or never understood. It was just not in my realm. It's like a paradigm shift above me. It's like a tier above me where I'm like, whoa, this is cool.
Have you I reckon you should speak to your friends again.
Yeah.
The guy that in the warehouse, the guy that does that. Yeah, I reckon speak to him, give him a dial up, see what he says. He'd definitely have some insights, maybe.
Most definitely.
You know what I mean? Because yeah, you're right. Like now you're in a you're like shifting phases. Like you're like, ah, shit. Like, you know, you're so close to breaking through the barrier above you. Now it's up to you how you go like, you know, go above it. So like, it's a challenge, but are you going to change anything? Are you going to do anything different? Are you just going to like focus on getting it, or what's the plan?
So right now the next action items are we're going to try hit a high shop rate, a high AOV, test different pricing models, set goals. We now know we have leeway for a high commission value, because the main problem was this morning I was like, I don't know how much commission I can actually afford, because I don't know, like it's weird because there's ad spend, but when I buy the ads, I'm buying, say for example, phone numbers. The phone numbers might not yield a return today, but they might yield a return in 6 months' time. So it's like this weird balance, and I was just in the dark. And then when I started doing the Excel, I was able to get clarity on everything. So now I know how much commission we can give. Therefore, we can sort of create structured sort of tiered goals where if they hit certain shop rate, AOV, close rate, then we could give them more commission. And it's weird how like the better perform, the higher your commission rate, and that's sort of how the rich get richer. Because it's weird, like even on an employee level, if they do better, they'll get paid more percentage, and then a high percentage just compounds more growth. But at the same time, on the company level, if the company does better, we can afford to pay more, and it's like, and then if we pay more, then more people want to work. So there's this crazy flywheel effect. So I'm starting to understand that. But those are the next action items. But tell me about this new hobby of yours, Krishn.
Firstly, obviously, you know, it's good to hear that everything is compounding. You're getting it all done. I reckon in the next month or so, I reckon episode 60, we'll hear an update, because these things take a lot of time. You know what I mean? Like it takes a lot of time to implement. You've only cracked it now, and it's like, even though you have cracked it, you need to have talks with maybe, I'm assuming, your accountant or your financial manager, whatever you have in place, and then see if it's feasible in the short term. What are your plans in the medium term for, you know, getting that capital and going forward? But
because now I understand, like scaling is difficult. Like I did not know how difficult it is. It's like scaling is hard. And like it makes sense why people would be stuck in the $100, $200, $300, $400, $500,000 range, because like that next step is much more difficult than it seems. Because I hired all the right people, and I was hiring salespeople, I was scaling the team, I was just like adding more people to it. But then the people I added in, I don't think I could feed them. And then if I do want to feed them, then I'm going to have to hire more people, ironically. But yeah.
Funny because like only a few months ago, I remember when I was at yours when you finally, got around to getting your first full-time sales employee I think the big dog that you got underneath you now. And it's like that was a big stepping stone for you because at that time you had, so many different people who like results were iffy. And then now it's like, okay, that big dog stepping through. Now you want like another 20 other big dogs on that one big dog. You sure like put it in layman terms in terms of, employee output. And then so that's a growth in only a few months. So like think of it like that. Like, yeah, it's like hard at the moment. You finally cracked it and you feel good, but it took a long time for you to get to the point of hiring that one full-time person. And now you move on and then you're trying to get another one or a few more, you know what I mean? So it's like these challenges keep coming up, but gotta be prepared for it.
Like I was even considering just like paying some people that have done, like I know people do like 30 million a year, just like on a similar course funnel, but they're like at the top of the top and just paying them to learn. But the breakthrough I had today, just like trying to crack it myself, writing on the whiteboard, just thinking about it, was like a breakthrough that I couldn't pay for, to be honest. And as I'm growing more and more, people like at a certain level, you don't pay for information anymore. Like you learn how to figure things out yourself. You ask the right questions. You do probably pay people, but you don't pay sort of entrepreneurs. Like you go straight to the actuary and you be like, hey, can I pay you $1,000 to look at these numbers and figure this out? You don't go and pay some mentor or some consultant to look into your business, because if they had that much knowledge, then they'll be killing it themselves, type of thing.
One of those, you're right, you're 100% right. Like you'd pay a specialist, you'd pay a plumber to come in and plumb your house, essentially, you know what I mean? Like those sort of things, as opposed to, paying someone with a proven business model, how does it work in yours? And then it doesn't translate always exactly the same. But at the same time, like, where did the inspiration come from for you to like think about all these things, about the sales employees that you have, being able to essentially feed them, pay them, taking that next step? And it's like, when did you like, okay, I'm ready, I can do this, like, because you would have had to brainstorm heaps to come to that conclusion, in the sense that it wasn't easy, because obviously it would have been racking your brain for a while, you know what I mean? So like, did you just wake up being like, okay, I'm going to figure this out, and you just blocked out time out of your day? Like I'm sitting here thinking, I hope I didn't ruin your flow today, like your thought process at 4:30 in the afternoon.
No,
Sunday, like...
I think that the whole flow finished, like the reason why I'm behind, because I had that mini breakthrough and I just kept pushing at it, but now I'm finished on it. But let's scroll up to the first message. I'm actually pretty curious. I want to get a breakdown on how I got to where I am, like by the end of the day. So this morning,
it's one of those, now that you got the momentum going as well, you need to keep going, otherwise you're just gonna like lose it and then it's not going to be the same, you know what I mean?
So the first thing was I went ahead and calculated the sharp rate, the closing rate of all our current sort of closes. So that was step one. Then I played around with the numbers, and the numbers looked pretty bad, and I even put in my sort of big dog, my sales manager, Anthony, into the mix, and I put in his number. And I was like, Anthony, should we go ahead and share this leaderboard with everyone? 2-1, show that, hey, they're slacking behind on your numbers. Two out of the 4 numbers are way better than the other 2 salespeople, so maybe let's motivate them. And Anthony said, one problem. If you go ahead and share them this leaderboard, they'll see my numbers, and my numbers, even though they look good, they're not that good. Like so I think his numbers were like over 1 month or something. And obviously we haven't tweaked it yet, and we haven't come to this realization yet. But he said to me, just in case one of the high ticket closers are listening, he was like, hey, if we look at my numbers, I did the maths. Let's see, I did the maths on his own numbers and his real experience, and it was like not much at all. Like it was making like, let's see, I don't know, he wasn't making enough to be lucrative and making it worth his time. I was like, all right, cool. Maybe if we increase the sharp rate from like 30% to 50%, okay, that'll make things a bit better, but now you're still making a salary of like a teacher. All right, let's improve the AOV from like 700 to 1,000. Okay, now you're sort of making a similar amount to like a graduate.
I'm going to butt in really quickly. AOV, acronym for me.
Thank you. Average order value. So how much we're getting and making out of each client. All right, let's bump up the AOV another 50%, increase it from 1,000 to 1,500. Okay, if we do it like now, the numbers look like it makes sense. Like you can probably pull in like maybe 80K a year, but like that means we need to increase AOV by 100%. We need to increase the shop rate by like 50%, and like these were like pretty tough improvements. And I was like, damn, like there's a good chance we can't do that because like we can't make everything better
with what you have at the moment. Yeah.
So I was like, the only thing that would increase the salesperson's salary is their commission percentage. That's something we haven't changed. So I was like, all right, but I don't know how much I could increase it. Like, you know, how much can I increase it by? You know, from like say 10, 20, 30, like what's the limit? So I was like, okay, that's something I need to figure out. And I was like, all right, I'll write this down. I'll figure this out tomorrow. I'll create a whole map where I include the cost of the appointment setters, the team, the ad spend, then figure out if we somehow talk to 100 people per day, per appointment setter, 2% of people get booked into a call, the people who book in a call, 50% show up. I built out the whole thing. Currently, let's say it's like, I know a company average profit margin is like 20%. That's like a healthy range to be in. So just playing around with the numbers, and that's sort of when the breakthrough came. Like when I was playing with the Excel and breaking it all down, I was like, holy crap. Like I know we have fixed costs. What happens if we go from 5 to 20 high ticket sales closes? Okay, if we need 20 salespeople, then we need like an extra more appointment setters. Let's link up these numbers where if I change this, it changes the amount of appointment setters, which then changes the wage for the appointment setters. But appointment setters, they're from Philippines. They're only paid, say, $3-4 an hour. So that doesn't scale too much. And I was just playing the numbers. I was like, holy shit, if I go from 5 to 10, all of a sudden my profit margin went from, say, 10% to 60%. Now it's at 60%. I could afford to give the salespeople, say, 5 to say 20% in commission. Those are just random numbers I'm just throwing out. But that's sort of how it all went down. The whole process from, let's see, probably started at, because one of the tasks was create a VLOOKUP formula to figure out who's showing up, etc. That was at 1:30 p.m. And then over the last 3 hours, all that sort of transpired in that 3-hour process. And I jumped on the call with Anthony, I showed him, they were testing different numbers, and like, yeah.
Pain is a vein. Now it's onwards and upwards, and then obviously take some time, process it, and then next week I'll ask for an update as well because it's quite raw at the moment. You're going to spend a few months, I reckon, implementing it and getting it all ready. But interesting phases. You definitely got to call a few people, get some insight. Maybe call mentor from America, see what he's saying. If he says anything, we'll have to see. But yeah, that sounds sick, bro. Congratulations, well done.
Thank
you got to
you.
celebrate the small wins because if you keep you got to celebrate the small things and the small wins. Otherwise, you get not get complacent, but it's good. It's good to be grateful. You sent me that TikTok, I think, or something ages ago. You got to be grateful. You got to keep you on your toes as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, good shit. I rate it.
So, show me your phone skin. I want to see your new phone skin, Krishn.
It's just that it's just a Dbrand.
Oh, you know how that looks sick.
You know how all the tech YouTubers just have a Dbrand.
Dude, that's sick.
I've always been shopping off Dbrand, but yeah. So like, past week I've just been I've entered a new hobby, right? So like obviously about the hobby, bought Yu-Gi-Oh cards. That is what it is, right? I showed you ages ago, right? And so in lockdown, I've just been I've always been monitoring this for a long time. I've just been monitoring, and then, I'm going to be leaving my job soon. Obviously, I told you about that ages ago. So I'm like, you know what? I'm in lockdown. I might as well just keep working because I have nothing else to do. I do want a break, and I will get that break, but I have nothing else to do. So I found a new hobby, and I made the purchase today. It's coming in a month or so, and I'll be building it. Oh, bro, it's expensive. It's a dark hole because it's like you can build so many beautiful ones. It's mechanical keyboards. I'm
Oh,
I've officially entered the
wow.
mechanical keyboards realm. So I bought. So obviously mechanical keyboards off ours. They're just essentially a keyboard, and the whole point of it is, well, you don't have to just build it all the time, but the whole thing is building keyboards. I've always wanted to build one. I've always been looking through the subreddit mechanical keyboards slash mechanical keyboards. I've always just been lurking on it, but I never really paid attention to it. The past 2 weeks, I just went ham. I just like dove deep into it. I did so much research. I was just like reading into it, watched so many YouTube videos. And I was like, you know what? I want to build one. This looks sick. But everyone uses a keyboard for different things. What do you like? What do you primarily do every day that you use your keyboard for? Like, do you run numbers and everything, right? So, like, what's important to you on a keyboard? Do you need a numpad or do you not need a numpad?
Ideally, so this is my current keyboard, just like a normal Apple keyboard. Ideally, I would like a number pad, so I want to get the longer version. So I think that would definitely help because the number pad is pretty good. Typing wise, also just send a lot of messages, type a lot of notes. I think what I want out of it, probably like if I were to like upgrade this, I would get one with a number pad. 2, maybe I'll get something that feels better, more satisfying. And I think that's about it. Those 2 things. I think the keyboard's organized in like a fairly nice ergonomic way where I'm able to reach all the keys. But yeah.
Yeah, because like for me, the way I think about it is I think of it as an investment. You use your keyboard every single day. You need to have a good keyboard. Otherwise, it's just shit. Like it's like obviously for your wrists and everything as well because you could be sitting down typing. Like it's something that you don't think about the ergonomics of keyboards. And there are some whack keyboards out there that people make that are just ridiculous. Like I'll share my screen if I find one like in the next couple of seconds. But the main thing that I thought is, okay, I want to build a keyboard. Okay, look, I'll share my screen with you really quickly. Like, just look at this. Like, there are some really interesting.
Whoa!
Yeah, so this is like what they call a split. So
wow.
There's like something like that, but there's like some of them are a lot more wilder and just like more crazy. So like, look at that.
Wow, like is it more ergonomic or anything?
Yeah, it's more ergonomic because you're not like putting it fingers like that, like you're just spreading it out, you're comfortable and everything, right? And so that's got a wrist strap as well. They cost a lot more to make because they're not they're not the usual form factor, right? But I didn't realize how like huge this community was until like I really deep dived into it. And there's so many things, so many intricate things that like everyone pays attention to. So, you know, you mentioned that ideally you want a numpad. I need a numpad too. In the day-to-day work that I do, I need a numpad for everything I do. But the keyboard that I have, like it's huge. It's massive. It's just way too big, right? It's way too big. So I'm just like, it's very big. I don't know if I want it. So what I wanted to do is I want to build one. And the most common form, they call it a 60%, right? That's called the most common form. I'll show you a 60% now.
Whoa, that's super cool.
Yeah, you were saying.
What I was going to say was like, I always wondered, like, because I know you can go on AliExpress and get like a bunch of like keyboards for like $30, $25, $50, and it'll be mechanical keyboards. Will have that nice satisfying click. It'll have different type of switches. It'll have some LED lights, and something like that. If you were to buy like a Razer version of it, it'll cost like $200-$300. And I was just confused, like, well, what are you paying for? And like, are these $20-$30 ones worth it from AliExpress? Are they good? But yeah, you can probably answer the question for me, I guess.
Like it just depends because like you don't know what you're going to get essentially with the AliExpress ones with $30 because I spent a lot of money on the one that I'm about to get. And
was it different parts or was it a kit?
What I got is I got a kit. So I just got the casing. I got what they call the PCB. So it's called like a motherboard of the keyboard essentially.
Do you have a resting thing as well? Like a mat? Like a thing for your carpal tunnel?
No, I already have one at the moment. Like I have a mat on my desk at the moment that I can use, but I might get a wrist thing as well. But this is the one that I got, right? So it's expensive, bro.
Whoa.
This is just the case.
What?
It's just the case.
Whoa, so cool.
It's just the case.
This is
Right,
actually
so-
sick. And is there like, why is the case so expensive? Like, yeah, is it like
Because
heavy?
this is like, it's completely aluminium. It's all, the entire case is aluminium. There's no plastic on it. The plastic, obviously, if it's plastic, this would be maybe $50 because like it's so easy to mold plastic, right? You know, like any plastic is cheap.
So why is those like keyboards on AliExpress like $30 if the case
Because-
itself costs 50?
They're most likely like plastic, and then they'd probably, depends on the type of keyboard it is, like as well. Like it, I really don't know how they can manage to push it out for $30. Like they're probably manufacturing it for a lot less. You know what I mean? But with this whole community, you buy everything separately, then you put it all together. So the way I'm going to do it, if I pull off this first build really well, I'll build you a keyboard, bro. I'll build you a nice keyboard that you can use as well. A little bit satisfying, but obviously within budget because it's expensive.
Can you build wires?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How
But
does
it's
Mac? Can you have the command key for Mac users?
Yeah.
Oh.
So the whole thing is you can buy the motherboard. It's called a PCB, and then you can switch it out to a Mac one if you want. And then you can get different keycaps, so different style colors on the keys, and then you can get different types of clicky noises. It's ridiculous. Like it's completely stupid. Because like the one that I want, it's called, I need a numpad, but I wanted everything squished together, right? So I'll show you a photo.
Now, when it comes to the clicking, is there like a range on how expensive that individual component can get? Or is that like pretty standard, like the most butterfly, whatever, a orange, blue, what do they call it? Blue switches or some shit? Like, is there like, or does that go up to like for infinite expensive?
There's like so many different companies that manufacture so many different switches. So like at the end of the day, it comes down to personal preference, how you like them to feel, sound, and everything, right? So I wanted something like this. I need a numpad, but I want everything squished together. I don't like it. So the form factor is like squished, so it's like compact, right? It's not huge. But the most common one is a 60%. It doesn't come with a numpad. It's just a plain keyboard like this, right?
And then what switches do you want, Christian? Or what switches again?
Like there's so many different types, but I'm going to buy one I don't want it too clicky because I don't like the clicky noises. So ideally the keyboard that I build eventually, like, you know, when I start work next year, I'm going to take that to work because I don't want to use another keyboard. You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to build it, I want to use it as much as possible. You know what I mean? So I want to get something really silent. So for work, you can get switches which barely make any noise, and they're just very like, you can go on YouTube, just type in ASMR silent switches or just silent switches keyboards, and they make no noise, right?
Now, how much when you buy a switch set, how much does it cost for like all the different, or like one? For example, if you buy silent switches, how much does that cost actually?
Depends. Like it depends on the brand and how good they are. Like some silent switches, because it's harder to make silent switches with the switch itself, like the housing and everything. For a pack of 10, it could cost 12. So if you're buying for a full set keyboard, it could cost like $120 for getting switches, and then on top of that, you need keycaps for the switches. So it's an expensive hobby, man.
So $10 for 12. Now, how expensive can a switch get? What's the most expensive switch you've seen?
I've seen $15, but that's like
15.
Yeah. So you know Tifu, you know the YouTuber Tifu.
Yes.
So Tifu had someone build him a keyboard. It was like commission build. A YouTuber built a keyboard for Tifu, and they use this particular type of switch, and it looks nice. It sounds decent. It's a bit too clicky, right? But because Tifu's using it, like popularity shot up heaps. So it's like $11 for like 5 or 10. So it's like expensive. Yeah. So like this is a rabbit hole that I'm down in at the moment.
Switches never get to like $50 for 10 switches.
No way. No.
Yeah, cool.
That's mental. Like if the build goes well, and if you're interested and you want a mechanical keyboard that, you know, you can use forever, or if you're gonna buy an Apple Magic keyboard, because they're still good, the Magic keyboards, you know what I mean? Let me know. I'll be happy to help you build one or build it for you. But yeah, like I don't know how this happened. Like I was like, you know what, I'll get into this hobby, and if I like it, we'll see what happens. Maybe start commission building for other people. Like, we'll see. But I don't know.
That could be a side hobby. That might be your side thing that you've been looking for, Krishn.
Yeah, that's the thing. So like, we'll see how it goes. Like, I want to build this one first properly.
TikTok it,
And
document it, film the process.
I will film it. But yeah, it'll be interesting because it's one of those things where I never really thought I was into, and then like I'm watching all these videos, I'm like, God damn it, this is like ridiculous. Like the science that goes behind, not the science, but the amount of energy that people put into this.
Now, Krishn, if the switches, that's sort of like capped at like say $15 for a pack of 10, which part is like you go as high as possible? Which part of the keyboard is probably the most expensive part that ranges from $50 to like $5,000? Or does that not exist?
Probably not 5,000 because eventually all the keyboards become similar. Like the high-end keyboards are fairly similar. It's mainly the housing, so the case. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna go out on him. I'm gonna be spending $500 on this keyboard.
Whoa! Damn!
It's a lot because like.
Break down the parts. So 200 for the casing.
Yeah, 200 for the case. So the way I thought about it is like, I'm going to be using this for ages. We have a mutual friend that like, I didn't know he was into keyboards, and then he was, Shash. He don't know, he's listening, probably won't. But yeah, like I talked to him about it, and he's like to me as well. He's like, dude, the way I think about it is you're going to be using this for ages. It's going to be like a one-off build. Just go hard on it. So you know what? Fair enough. But the only reason why it's costing so much is because the case that I want in the form factor, no one does it. Barely anyone does it. Because the 96%, what they call 96, because it's compact with the 10 keys, no one does it. Everyone just does what you have. What you have is a 60%. Do you have a numpad?
No.
Sorry, an arrow pad.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you have a 75. So 75%. That's so common as well.
Wait, so that means 60 doesn't even have arrows?
No, 60 doesn't have arrows.
What?
Yeah.
And how do they go up and down and stuff?
They don't. They have a mouse. That's the thing. Like that's what I thought. I'm like, how can you survive without a numpad? I need a numpad. You know what I mean? Like I need one. I don't know how you've been surviving without one.
Yeah, I need one too.
Because you just get used to it when you have a numpad. You just quickly get used to it, as opposed to just like you just use your right hand, get used to it. But yeah, I don't know. Like all the enthusiasts love the 60%. They need a 60%. But yeah, like the case itself cost me $200. I upgraded on like the housing inside the case to be like, instead of aluminium, I got like brass metal. That was an extra $40. My switches are going to cost like $80. The keycap set, the colors on top, maybe like 60, 70. And like, it's one of those things where I knew it'd cost a lot, but I'm like, you know what? It has, and each switch needs to be lubricated. Lubricate each switch. You need to open up the switch, paint it with lubricant, close it up, and it's like, why do people do this?
How do you lube it? Do you have to lube it again after every year?
Probably not, until you realize the difference is there. Like when you watch videos of lubed versus unlubed switches, you like can't really hear it, but after you watch so many, you're like, no, those definitely don't have switches. They're like butterfly, right? But yeah, we'll see when everything comes. I hope to build on soon. I was ideally looking for a wireless one, but it's so hard to build a wireless inside an aluminium housing. We won't go too much into it, but I want to move on swiftly unless you have any last words to say, because it's a wild hobby that I didn't even know I'd be into. I just bought it today.
After you told me that you can't live without a numpad, I wrote down, I'm going to start looking for like a keyboard with a numpad. Because if it's that game-changing, then I need one. So that's what I'll do.
Because when you do numbers, you have to use, like, you go 1, 2, 3 on top, right? Like, I can't do that. Like, when I'm at work, I'm just typing, and then if I need a number, like, I've been using it for so long, it's just instinctive. Like, you just know where everything is. You just, like, start doing it. And then that's why, for me, it's essential. It's a must. It's a need. I deal with numbers every day. So, like, efficiency-wise, it's one of those things, right? But, yeah, look, if you want to build a keyboard, I'll be more than happy to build on for you. If it's a project, you're just like, yeah, why not? Let's just build on. Because it's one of those things you're going to use all the time, use a keyboard every day. You don't realize it. But yeah, this is a little hobby that I decided to dive in head first in. First the cat, now the keyboard. Jesus Christ.
It's crazy how that's sort of how COVID works, where all the money that would have went to traveling, hotels, flight tickets, it has to be funneled somewhere. Like money has to go somewhere. People don't really save much, or like it's hard to save. Like it just gets funneled into other industries and yeah.
Like it is what it is at the end of the day. But talking about another industry, really quickly, last one. Crypto is finally on the rise again after so long. It's finally going up. ETH has boomed. BTC has boomed. Jeff Bezos is no longer the richest man in the world. Some guy took over him. Yeah, someone took over him.
Bernard Arnault?
Yeah, I think that's him. Yeah, Bernard Arnault and family, yeah.
Oh, no.
I forgot what he does.
He owns all the big brands like Louis Vuitton, Oroton, Hennessy, etc. Wow, no way. Whoa, you're right. Damn, Bernard Arnault. Crazy.
Yeah, I think he acquired something in the last couple of days or something, or Bezos bought something in the last couple of days that made him like drop down. But it's like, Jesus Christ, like, my God.
Man, these three freaking hydras, three-headed hydras, make like Bill Gates, who's worth 132 billion, look small.
I know, man. I know. I can't believe it. Bill Gates, 132 billion. Elon Musk, 182, 193, 197. But I think Bezos will eventually go back to the top.
This is perfect that we're talking about this. Let me show you a graph that I built.
I think you showed me the other day.
Oh, did we? The wealth graph?
The wealth graph.
Oh, yeah, we did. We went through it. Yeah.
The one that you go like all the way to the top. Yeah. It's crazy though. Like, I'm just here thinking like, and on top of that, there was a new bunch of CryptoPunks that came out. The Covid CryptoPunks. I don't know if you saw that. They sold out really quickly.
CryptoPunks. So literally a month ago, I was looking at them. The base price was 20 ETH or like 18 ETH. Now the base price is 50 ETH. CryptoPunks are like it's booming, and like I wish I would have gotten one. Two, I'm like, hopefully this is just a sort of mini. What do you call it? Bull mini peak? What do you call it? Mini? I don't know what you call it. But hopefully it just drops. Yeah, hopefully it drops back down so I could buy one. But CryptoPunks 3x in price.
49.2 ETH. Base price 6 figures. 150k. Jesus Christ, bro. What is going on?
And ETH is increasing, so that means it's compounded. The cost of an ETH is increasing, but then it's costing more ETHs to buy a CryptoPunk.
A CryptoPunk, yeah, 100%. And it's like, my God, dude. Like, the lowest one, 49.2 ETH, and it's just like, oh my God. Now I'm really considering like potentially pulling out my money on Bitcoin or crypto, but I'm like, you know what? Hold it. Obviously you're still holding it, right? Like you're gonna hold it for ages. All right. If you hold it.
Before we move on to CryptoPunks, so with CryptoPunks you can't buy it. Like there's a sale price, you bid for the price they're looking for, and then they accept it. But somehow there's like some strategy that these big guys, they bribe their way. Somehow they bought like within an hour, they bought like 20 CryptoPunks in one go within 1 hour. I don't know how they did it, but yeah.
That's so much money. What?
Yeah. So investors, companies are getting into CryptoPunks now.
Didn't Gary Vee get into CryptoPunks?
Yeah. He spent 1,600 ETH. Spent like $1 million, like 2-3 million buying like the 8th CryptoPunk. Yeah.
1,600 ETH.
Yeah.
My God, Logan Paul got offered like 700k or something for a CryptoPunk as well. I was seeing that. Yeah, I was like, what the hell? Like all these big people. Wait, I'll just type in Logan Paul in NFT. It's only a matter of time before. Wait, Logan Paul sells 5 million worth of NFTs. That was earlier in the year. But like Gary Vee to buy 1,600. That's mental. Imagine if MrBeast comes out with his NFT. If MrBeast comes out with an NFT, it's game over. It's honestly game over.
Damn, that's crazy. Now, Krishn, So my crypto portfolio, it's finally balanced. It's finally like I'm finally in the green, and like it's like, oh wow, that took a while. I know you got in a bit later. So how is it breaking even yet, or is it still a bit in the red?
I'm green. I'm all green.
Oh, nice, nice.
Because I only put a little bit of money into it. I regret, dude. Last week when we recorded this last week or the week before, it was 29k USD. That was the price of BTC, 29k. Yes. And I was like hesitant. It's literally right now at 45k. Wow. Oh my god! And I was like, should I buy a little bit more now? Nah, it could drop more. Now it's at 45k. Now, obviously, this happens all the time with anything. You look at something and it's like, but I'm finally in the green. I've only made $600. So, like, it is what it is at the end of the day. I'm more exposed into ETH than I am into BTC. Like 60% exposed into ETH. When I really should have been, I should have pumped. Oh, Andy, I'm sorry. Like I should have pumped more into BTC. But yeah. So you're in the green, right? Finally, everything.
Finally in the green. And then I think I'm gonna like do the same strategy where like right now every morning I just look at my portfolio, see what's the furthest from its goal, put in a $50 buy order, and I build like a pyramid where it's like, for example, I'm trying to buy more ADA, so I've like say $1,000 in orders for ADA at 36 cents, then like 900 at 77 cents, and then like 300 at say $1. So I build this pyramid. I keep bringing it up until it buys, and if it keeps going up, maybe it no longer becomes the smallest ratio because now it's been higher price. So I'm going to use the same strategy for selling. So I'm going to transfer all my ETH into my Binance account and set like a sell order at like say $50 worth of ETH at, I don't know, 5,000. Then $100 at 5,500. Then $200 and just create like a pyramid on selling. That's the plan at least. And then
don't hold ETH on Binance. You hold it on a different platform.
Yeah, I had it on. I've been buying crypto on this platform called BTC Markets. It's like an Australian, but then it's a bit confusing because now like I'm looking at the USD price and the AUD price, and sometimes I still get confused because sometimes I catch up with my high school friends and we're talking about different prices. And they're like, "Oh, did you know ADA's like back up to $2?" I'm like, "What? No way!" And I look, it's like, "Oh, that's $2 AUD."
AUD, yeah, not USD, 100%. But yeah, like, so you want to sell your ETH? Oh, 5,000 is a lot. I reckon it'll hit 5k though, because apparently there's some new software or something associated with it. So like, I reckon it could keep going, especially because ETH is a currency to buy these CryptoPunks. Like,
I only sell like $50 at a time, which would be like 0.0001 ETH or something. Yeah. But I'll be like do many little sell orders, and like I think that's the lesson I learned. Like I want to sell at the top so I can buy more at the bottom. And with the current formula, I think it will work. We'll see.
Yeah, surely. It's only a matter of time anyway. It'll work. Everything will go back to normal. I mean, it took a while, but from that day when crypto just went down to we were like, we don't want to talk about finance. Yeah, it's finally back up. The simulation is finally resetting. Everything is going back to normal. And we move on. Shall we wrap it up here, sir?
I agree. Great, solid episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. This episode, initially I was trying to go off like a bunch of different topics, but we had a few solid conversations on a few different things. Let us know how you enjoyed this episode compared to others. And yeah, Krishn, you can wrap it up.
Thank you guys for listening again. 8th of August, Sunday. See you guys next week on episode 48. Closing. So we're going to be reacting to old clips on 58.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks' time. That'll be, oh my God, I'm going to crease. I'm going to cringe.
I'm worried of two things. Either one, it's going to be so cringy and it's going to be so funny. Or two, that we're the exact same people.
Yeah.
I'm actually fearful of that.
Yeah, I think we might be the exact same, but who knows? Who honestly knows?
I want to cringe a lot because if I cringe a lot, that means there's a lot of growth. If I don't cringe too much, then I'm like, I'm the same person, which is not a good thing.
it's also not a bad thing either.
That's true. That's true.
You can take it with a pinch of salt either way. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. We'll wrap it up there, and we'll see you guys next week. Cheers.
Peace, guys.